John Fetterman, man, what an amazing story John Fetterman is. The guy, he was basically a progressive cult hero. I mean, the guy was so freaking Democrat that he was chasing down random black guys with shotguns in the morning and then giving speeches about race and gun control in the evening. I mean, he was very, very Democrat. And then he had a stroke and his brain began to heal itself. He became less and less of a modern day Democrat. And now today, he says that progressivism has officially left him. And I agree. I mean, it is amazing to watch.
You said, I'm not a progressive, I'm a Democrat. What does that mean? What is that distinction? Because I don't think I've used the word progressive. I think I've said woke. I think there's a big difference between woke, and I know that word triggers a lot of people because it had a great beginning as a meaning, but words migrate, and it went to something else. I think there's a big difference between an old school liberal and a woke person. You say progressive Democrat. How do you describe this?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's like I've just say, and I've been saying that for years, actually. I said that, I didn't leave the label. It left me on that.
Right.
And that really, after it happened on October 7th, I was really knew that that whole progressive stack would be blasted apart, and there's not going to be any kind of way how the Democrats are going to be able to reply to that kind of, or respond to that kind of. And I really decided early on that I believed that was going to be the right side with Israel throughout all of that. And I knew that would going to be Democrats would continue to peel away and kind of walk away from standing with Israel on that. But that's where I decided after.
How do you explain that, if you can, that the people who consider themselves the most liberal have abandoned Israel, which was always a liberal darling, for the people who, a terrorist organization, the people who outwardly say they want a genocide, who outwardly are the one side of this who is against the two-state solution. Somehow they wound up with them. Why do you think that is? And will this split the Democratic Party?
Well, it does, because there's an appeal there, and I think you talk about that. Like last week, you really hit with the gender apartheid.
Yes.
And talking about a lot of these issues, and some of the most progressive and left parts of the Democratic Party are standing, for the kind of side that have. Kinds of organizations like Hamas or these kind of nations that there are no rights for women, and they certainly don't embrace the LGBTQ kinds of lifestyle. And even in Philadelphia, the Queers for Palestine blocked the Pride parade in Philadelphia, and I never saw that on the bingo card, but it's really true.
There's a lot there, man. I mean, look at what you have here. You've got two old school Democrats, two really in their own ways Democrat legends, and they just cannot understand. They definitely can't explain why so many in the Democrat Party have chosen to align with terrorists that literally throw gay people off of roofs instead of aligning with a true liberal democracy in the Middle East. They can't explain it because much of it, it's not explainable. It really doesn't make any sense, especially if you don't actually understand the modern day left, because none of this really has anything to do with Israel. This is all about the destruction of the West. This is the Cloward Piven strategy in full swing, in full motion, man. These people, they're not just anti-Israel, they're anti-American, they're anti-Western civilization. I mean, this is the only way to explain to people who tell you that they're tolerant and accepting, lining up with the most bloodthirsty and backwards authoritarians literally in the modern world. That's the only way this makes sense. And speaking of making sense, when John Fetterman is the only Democrat that really makes sense, that's a wrap, man. That party is finished.
For the president in this situation, seems to be more coming from very safe and blue, very kinds of places. Now in Pennsylvania, the border security is an important issue, and we do all believe that we should have a secure border. And I never thought it was unreasonable for any Democrat to want to make our border more secure.
I want to ask you personally about your own sort of journey, as the kids say. Some progressives have criticized you for being a different senator than you suggested you would be when you were a candidate for Senate. What do you say to that?
Well, I wasn't. I was very clear for saying that for years I'm not a progressive, and I just identified myself as just a regular Democrat. So it really wasn't any new news. Now, 8 years ago, I was a progressive. but the situations change, and I've been very clear that I didn't leave that label leaved me, and I think it's much more important to be focusing on Donald Trump instead of,
Yeah, I mean, John Fetterman, the guy he's still recovering from his stroke. He still seems to have a hard time with some sentence structure and, that kind of thing, but he makes more sense than any other currently serving Democrat in government. I mean, it is truly freaking amazing. Anyone who is still struggling with the early onset disease of liberalism, you owe it to yourself to find a way to go see John Fetterman's doctors at Walter Reed. Whatever they have done for that guy, whatever they've done to that guy is literally bordering on miraculous. But that's just my take. I thought you deserved to see that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you haven't already, guys, be a part of our growth. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. I'll see you in the next one.